those areas. And you saw the difference, certainly, I think, even in spring ball, just the competitive depth within our program. And that has been, we knew that was going to be a little bit of a journey, right? You can, this day and age, and it's been talked about a lot, you can build rosters faster than you could before, but you still can't do everything in 1 year. Like it can't happen. You can make dramatic changes, but not everything. And so we were proud of what we did in year one, but certainly very focused on what we felt like year two could be. And so it was fun to see, again, the competitive depth, especially in some key areas, the defensive front seven, chief among those. And I think watching this team unfold throughout spring into summer, a lot to be excited about. Listen, we got a great opportunity in front of us. I think everybody within our program, every player senses that and wants to do a great job of taking advantage of this, because these windows are short and you only get so many shots at this. And I do think for us, does it motivate us anymore if it wasn't our last year in the Pac-12? No, but is there also a sense of this is your last chance to play some of these teams, to go into some of these venues? Absolutely, and we feel that, and we want to make sure we put our best foot forward.
Okay, we're going to open it up to questions from the media. Just raise your hand and we'll bring over a mic. And remember to state your name and affiliation. We'll start over here on the far left with William.
Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press, Lincoln. Your presence, obviously, we saw what took place in the first year, but a guy like Caleb Williams, he's such a catalyst. How does he change the complexion of an offense in a program and just take it to the next level?
Well, he's obviously been a key factor in this from a lot of different ways. I think the situation last year, he obviously did a great job and was important for our program, but also I think for his learning and his growth, it was a great situation for him to be in as well, where he was challenged to not only just play a full season, but to lead and to really help jumpstart a program, jumpstart an offense, jumpstart a culture. And he did a tremendous job. Certainly, obviously the quarterback position is probably singularly the most important position in football. This league is well documented. We have a great quarterback. We're going to play a lot of great quarterbacks this season, and which is one of the obvious strengths of this league. Listen, there's nobody else in the country that I would rather go to war with than that guy. And his toughness, his ability to lead, his ability, despite any of the good things that have happened for him or his teams, his ability to continue to want to climb and to get better and the hunger to do that is very apparent on a day-to-day basis. So, great quarterbacks at the end of the day get defined by their team's success, their championships, and I know he's very hungry to go close out this year with both.
All right, next question is in the back row.
Will Decker, LA Football Network. Bear, Dorian, Mason, among a slew of other transfers, have come to USC. What makes them as people fit in with the USC program and what you guys got going on with the Trojans?
Well, similar to year one, when we brought in so many different people, we really stuck to our guns and really believed in, you want to lay out the opportunities at a place like SC, you want to lay out the situation and how does it fit, but we wanted guys that were really dying to be a part of this program and sense the opportunity that was there. And if we haven't had that feeling about anybody, we've separated and we've moved the other direction, because I think coaching or playing at USC is one of the great responsibilities in our sport. I mean, the program is so important to the support, to the sport, to the success of football on the West Coast in general, and has such a great history that I think we should all see it like that, right? Like we're not owed the opportunity to do what we do at a place like USC. It's an honor to do it at that place. It's a great responsibility, and we want a team full of players and a staff room full of people that see it that way. The guys you mentioned are like that, and then add in the obvious, potential impact on our defense and attacking the areas that we need to with proven players that have done it at a high level is very, very important. So all those guys were just a great fit. They made sense from day one, and they've been great within our locker room and our team up to this point.
Third row here, second line.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. Utah was the only team that managed to bite you guys in Pac-12 play last year, and they did it twice. Is there some sort of respect to be had for the way in which they built their roster? Is it such a contrast to kind of how this one's built?
Well, I have utmost respect for them. You're talking about two different schools, two different situations, two different eras, two different sets of rules. I think we'd be wasting our time, honestly, comparing it. They've done a tremendous job over a long period of time building that roster. And it's taken on the personality of Coach, and they know what they want to be, and they're really good at it, and I have a ton of respect for them. Us coming into USC year one, a different school, again, a different total situation, we attacked it a different way. And I think your job as a coach is to take the situation you have, take the rules that are in the game, and then go build the best rosters and the best programs that you possibly can by any means necessary within the framework of those rules. That's our job, and they've done a great job of it. I think we've done a great job of it too. We had two tremendous games with them last year, and obviously we'll expect they'll be a very strong team, and looking forward to having them visit LA this fall.
Thank you.
Same row, one seat over.
Hey Coach, Connor Morris at USCFootball.com. You've coached teams that have made the college football playoff before. What similarities do you see with this year's USC team compared to those teams that you've had success with in the past?
Well, I think you've got a team that, I know at least looking through spring ball, that was very competitive back and forth with one another. I've been a part of teams where you practice against each other, and the offense just kind of dominates the defense on a day-in, day-out basis, or the defense dominates the offense, and you're like, well, we may be pretty good on that one side of the ball, but to win championships, to win those big games, you have to have both. You're going to have to win games with elite defensive performances. You're going to have to win games with elite offensive performances. You're going to have to be able to play off one another, but also cover up for one another. Because every week, every matchup, every situation is very, very different. And so I like what I've seen out of our team. I think the other part is you got to have a team that believes you can do it, that knows you can do it. I think we believed we could last year, but even throughout the beginning of the year, when we first got to LA, I think there was a sense of convincing these guys within the program that we could win, that we could be successful, that shouldn't be a shock or a surprise. And I think as the year went on, I do think there was still a part of our roster that was a little surprised that it was going well and we were winning that many games. And I don't think that'll be the case this year. So we've taken steps to be able to really be great at the end of the season. The thing we've said within our walls, the day the Pac-12 championship game ended through now, we'll continue to, is it's really not about the end for us. It's the longer it goes, the better we get. And that is really taking that mentality, and that's how you take that next step to go from putting yourselves in the situations we did last year to being able to capitalize on those. And that's the obvious step that we have to take as a program.
In the back right, Justin.
Justin Spears for the Arizona Daily Star. Lincoln, you added 3 guys from Arizona in the transfer portal, and Dorian Singer, Christian Wallace, and Keon Barnes. What do those guys bring to your team, and how do you reflect on Dorian's performance against you guys last year?
Yeah, hopefully he'll do the same thing to everybody else that he did to us last year. Dorian was tremendous. It really was tremendous the whole season. So a lot of great tape, a lot of production. So when he entered the transfer portal, it was a pretty obvious person for us to have some interest in. And was really impressed by both Keon and Christian in our game, and then just watching different common opponents throughout the years. And both of those guys, with losing Mekhi Blackman in the secondary, and as we've said, wanting to really overhaul the defensive front seven, made a lot of sense. They've got game experience in this league. They're guys that are all three physically in a great place. They've done a great job developing through their careers, and I think have developed continued to develop as they've been on our campus. And listen, at the end of the day, once they went in the portal and we were able to have conversations, the key characteristic with all three, and this is similar to the answer to the previous question, once they got in the portal and knew they were leaving, those guys all really, really wanted to be at USC. This was not like a deal where you feel like you're just, going out of your way to convince these guys. Like I think they sensed the opportunity that was there, and they wanted to be a part of it, and there was not a lot of back and forth, which is always, I think, a very healthy sign.
Staying in the back right.
Eric Lampers, the second Culver City Observer. Coach, you completely transformed the program in 1 year. I'm curious, what motivates you as a leader in helping you be so successful in crafting a new culture?
Well, we transformed it. It's never one person. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, listen, coming to USC, the decision for all of us, whether myself, the assistant coaches, the staff members that came, the players that stayed, the new players that came in, I think we all had to recognize it for the opportunity that it was. And some people can look at a program like that and say, well, it's been down a few years and they only won this many games the year before. And some people see negative things and some people see opportunity. And we saw, all of us saw opportunity. And I think there was a common belief that the combination of the people we have and the program and the setup at SC could do something really, really special. And there's no story in life or in sports any better than a comeback and a rise. And to get a chance to be a part of that, to embrace that, and it reinvigorates you. It's exciting, and like I said, not only do we get a chance to do it, but we get a chance to do it at one of the most important programs in our sport. And I think we've all recognized that for what it is. We all appreciate it, and I think it motivates every single one of us to continue to climb.
Front row here, AP.
Hi, Coach, good to see you. AP Stella from AP and Kelly, as we said, syndicated radio from LA, Lower Alabama. Coach, in this prolific era of offense, and a lot of defensive teams with NFL players, they seem to surrender points as well. How would you define, from your perspective, an acceptable level of defense that can help you get to the college football playoff and win a national championship?
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's a great question. That question is going to continue to evolve because football continues to evolve. You're going to have periods in the game where defenses are dominant and scoring and yards and all that go down. You're going to have times where they climb. So I think it's always going to evolve. I think for any side of the ball, being able to rise to a championship level in key situations, I think having a consistency within your performance and then being able on a week-to-week basis to have a strong impact on winning football is what it's about. I mean, I was sitting in the hotel room last night and replaying the semifinal game with Georgia and Ohio State. We got the national champion giving up, whatever it was, 41 points or whatever it was in the semifinal game. Like you're going to have some of those ebbs and flows, right? Are you going to hold every single team to 10 points this day and age? Maybe not right now, but are you impacting winning? Are you making that consistent impact on a week-to-week basis? And I think that's what tells the story. And so I think the key factor in what we're all certainly seeing, and not that this is any big surprise, is you have to have groups that are capable of rising on any given week and making those plays to win the game. And that you never know exactly how that's going to play out, right? It's games, change so many different ways. There's so many different factors, weather, matchups, injuries, officiating, I mean, you name it. And the best teams, I think, have groups on all sides of the ball that are able to persevere and really show up in the big moments.
I've got three more. We'll start with Mark here in the fourth row.
Hey, Coach. Last year, when you came in, there was a lot of fixes in the program. And after the season, you talked about having to have like 600 pages on your iPad, notes that you had to go over. What does that number reduce down to in year two?
Sorry, say that again.
When you took over the team last year, you mentioned you had like 600 pages on your iPad of stuff that just had to be fixed. Going into year two, how many pages did that been reduced down to?
Probably like 598, something like that. Yeah, no, I'm joking. It's certainly, it's different, right? The challenge is still there. It's just the challenges change, right? The mark moves a little bit. There's, you're not having to decide right now, like, who goes in what office. You're not having to decide, some of those things that maybe are only year one things, but you're also, the program's at a little bit different point now, and you're like at a different point of the climb. It's still a climb, right? There's still challenges. They're just new and different challenges, and so it's been fun. I mean, I think I would really point to the continuity of our staff. I think being able to have so many of those guys back and together, and even though some of us have coached together or coached together at previous spots, having that whole group together, being able to carry so many of those people forward at the same school with a lot of the same players, gives you some real advantages. I mean, listen, that part has been tremendous. And then also returning a lot of the leaders within the team that have an idea of what the expectations are, what the standard is, and being able to carry that over to anybody new that comes into the program. Certainly, I'm not saying it's easier, it's just different right now, right? We're not focused on the beginning stages of the climb, we're focused on getting to the mountaintop, and so that's a challenge within our walls.
Two more, starting here with Dennis in the front row.
Dennis Freeman, News for Us Online. Coach, what's your take on NIL, and do you believe congressional input is needed in order to solve this issue in college athletics?
Yeah, I know it's been discussed at all the different media days here in the last few weeks. Listen, NIL, there's probably like any new thing, especially something this seismic, has its advantages and its real positives. Certainly, players being able to be treated like the rest of the world, not having restrictions on being able to earn or capitalize off of their hard work is, I think we all agree, is a positive thing. I think is there still regret, maybe even disappointment, and I think fair to say disappointment over how it was just kind of thrown together and implemented? Yes. How do you fix that? Is it congressional involvement? Is it NCAA reform? I don't know that I have that answer. I don't know that I do. And I don't know that anybody does at this point. We're learning more about it as it goes, right? In the beginning of NIL, there was a lot more just propaganda. A lot more that came out about NIL was false than was true. And I think now we're seeing the market, if you will, starting to settle. I think we're all getting an idea of what it really is and what it really is not. And I think as we all understand that more, I think the path forward to maybe regulating it and making it a little bit more organized, I think that'll become more apparent as we learn more. But you got to figure out what it really is before you know what the solution is. And it's going to take some time, and I think people are going to have to be patient.
And the last one for Coach Riley here on the far right in the third booth.
Coach Kevin Turner, Sun Devil Radio Network and USC parent. And my question is this, and I know I probably speak for some of my colleagues in here, is there, from a historical perspective, is there some sense of melancholy, like you guys are leaving this great conference, going to a new frontier in the Big Ten, and do you feel a sense of, perhaps a sense of loss as you enter into your final season here in the Pac-12?
Yeah, sure we do. I haven't been in this conference for very long, but when I made the decision to come coach at USC, it was to come coach here. And in a short time, been able to make and create great relationships, within this conference, whether it's the other coaches, the other schools, the administrators here, getting to play at the different venues. So yeah, sure there is. I mean, I think that's part of it. Is there excitement to go into the Big Ten? Absolutely there is. Right? This is not a battle between good and evil, right? It's not that there's one right answer, right? Pac-12 is a tremendous conference, and I think it's set up for a tremendous year. and obviously we're excited to be a part of it this year, and hopefully our last year goes really, really well. And then, yeah, I'd be lying to you if I said we weren't very excited about the future and what that brings. So, yeah, I think there's certainly, you know, I think, yeah, melancholy, that the way you described it is a little bit, yes, but I think more it's, you know, motivation to make it count. And that's certainly our mindset right now.
All right, well, it all starts week 0. We'll be here before we know it on the Pac-12 Network. San Jose State, Coach. Best of luck this season, and thanks for your time. We look forward to talking to everybody about this.
Sounds great. Thank you.